guys. So it's now 7 a.m. and I'm heading into the hospital to check in for the procedure. Once I got inside, they hooked me up to an IV with some antibiotics to prep for surgery, and then the surgeon came in to pretty much just give me the rundown on what to expect. Morning, guys. Excuse my voice because they had put a tube down my throat during the procedure, and it's been so scratchy and I need to cough so bad, but it hurts to cough because of the incision. But today is post-op day 1 and I am feeling crazy. So the surgery went really well yesterday. Started the procedure at 9 a.m. and I got out of the procedure around 11:30-ish. So it took a couple of hours. And when I woke up, I was in so much pain. I started to cry. I was just very, very sore. And okay, let's restart this. The doctor actually just came in to check on me. He said the procedure went amazing and that everything looks great in there. My ovaries look good, my tubes look good. So that's good news to hear. They're prescribing me Percocet to take home. So that'll definitely help with the pain. I got a peek at my incision. It's so tiny. Thank God I can still wear an itty bitty bikini. But yeah, as of yesterday, when I first got out of surgery, I was in so much pain. I started to cry. And so they put some fentanyl in an IV and it knocked me out like a light. Like I was eating some graham crackers and I fell asleep with the graham cracker right here. Like, it was crazy. That stuff is strong. But yeah, just really sore. It just feels like my abdominal muscles are just like torn apart. It's just super sore. And then, you know, they use a gas to blow up your abdominal cavity during the surgery. And so now all that gas is just trapped in my abdominal cavity and it hurts. So I have to do a lot of walking. I went on 3 walks so far, just walking around to get rid of that gas that's in my stomach. But other than that, you know, I feel great. I'm just glad to have this finally over with. I pray that they don't grow back, but this is definitely going to be a journey because like I've gotten my boobs done before and this procedure hurts way more than getting a breast lift. But I just thank God that it went well and, you know, I'm healthy and everything's looking good. But I just could not imagine doing this procedure. Like I can't imagine having a C-section and having a baby on top of my chest, breastfeeding, you know. So to all the moms that have C-sections, God bless your heart because, you know, I had an open myomectomy. So they cut me open just like a C-section. And I could not imagine having to care for a child right now. Like I can barely twist and turn myself out of bed. Okay, so let me tell you guys how I even found out I had the fibroids. So I was at work one day and I changed my tampon. And when I went to go change my tampon, like my panties were soaked with blood. And I'm just like, did I not change this on time? Like, it was just strange because I usually never soak through my tampons like that. So then maybe like an hour later, I go back to the bathroom and I change myself again. And that tampon as well was just like soaked. Then literally as I'm going back to my desk from changing that tampon, I'm bleeding all over the floor. So I call my coworker and I'm like, Delaney, come here right now. Like, and so she looks at all the blood on the floor and she's like, that's not a normal period. You need to go to the ER and get that checked out. And I don't really like going to the hospital. So I was like hesitant and she's like, no, like, please go. God bless her because I went to the ER and they did an ultrasound and found one of the fibroids. And I just could not believe it. I'm like, no way. So then I I track my period with the Flow app. And when I went to go look at the Flow app, because, you know, at the hospital, they were asking me like, oh, are your periods irregular? You know, blah, blah, blah. And I have noticed lately that my periods will be like 10 days long, which was very weird for me because I had an IUD in. I took it out when I found out about the fibroids, but I had an IUD in, so my periods would usually be like 3 or 4 days long. But then, you know, as of lately, my periods would be like 10 days long, 12 days long. That's not normal. So I went to my Flow app and I was just looking through all the different months and checking on my period. And since last March-ish, my periods were just irregular. It'll come twice a month. They'd be long, then sometimes they'd be short. And I was just like, you know, I should have known something was up because my period was just not regular at all. But, and even when they started to get longer, I was just thinking, okay, maybe my period's out of whack. Maybe my cycle is just doing something weird. But that should have been like the first sign for me to check in and see what's going on. So yeah, went to the hospital. They did the ultrasound, found one of the fibroids. And when they said how big it was, which was about 6 centimeters, I was like, no way. So I was just in a lot of pain. I was bleeding so much. Like, this is the most I've ever bled on a period. So I was bleeding so much, and it was like a massacre. Then I ended up going back to the ER maybe like 4 days later because I was bleeding so much that I was just so fatigued, couldn't get out of bed. I was just like, I feel like I'm becoming anemic at this point. So I went back to the ER. They did another ultrasound, found another fibroid. So now 2 fibroids. And I was just like, okay, time to go ahead and find a doctor for surgery. And that was the most aggravating part ever because my gynecologist does not do surgery. So she referred me to somebody else. And that woman only takes out fibroids that are inside of the uterus so that she can take it out through the vagina. My fibroids were growing inside of my uterine wall. So I needed somebody that actually gets you open. So she referred me to somebody else. And that guy, the office was just so terrible. The staff treated me like shit. And they were like, oh, we'll put you on a waiting list. And I'm just like, F that. And so I asked my aunt, and she's like, well, why don't you go to my doctor? He delivered all 4 of the babies, and she had all C-sections. She's like, he delivered all of my kids. He's great. So I go to him. It was just perfect. Like, I just knew I'd be working with him since the second I went to his office. The staff was amazing. He had amazing bedside manner, like, just awesome. So they scheduled me for surgery. My surgery date was 2 months after the incident. So I saw him in October when everything was happening, and the first available surgery date was for December 13th. So they got me scheduled, and he's just been amazing since. And yeah, I'm just glad to have found him, glad my aunt referred me, and just glad to finally have this taken care of.